Ah, there you are. Please don't mind Adelaide. She'll be here with us today. For some reason. So my newest little rose in the garden, ready for bloom. Let me properly welcome you in Hogwarts greenhouse. First of all, if you have any allergies to plants or flora, this might not be the place for you. In fact, even the flowers in there look like they would attack you at any moment. But fear not, my friend. We have the best herbology teacher in the world, Professor Mirabel Garlick. This woman is like the love child of a botanist and a fairy godmother. She knows everything there is to know about herbology. Also, if you're not a natural green thumb, Professor Garlick is always happy to help. But there is someone much better than Professor Garlick. Me. Now, I know what you're thinking. Herbology? Isn't that just a fancy way of saying we're picking flowers in the greenhouse? But believe me, it's so much more than that. I know. Working with plants could be simply disgusting and very, very messy. Some plants are painful, others may be deadful. In herbology, we study the magical and medicinal properties of plants. That means we're not just picking pretty petals. We're looking for ingredients that can cure ailments, enhance potions, and even protect us from dark magic. In fact, some of the most powerful spells and potions require ingredients that you can only find in the wild. There are some truly fascinating plants that can do magical things like cure a headache just by sniffing them, and the smell of them. Oh, the smell! You know those moments when you can almost taste a fragrance? Well, imagine feeling like you're in a field of lavender or roses, but instead you're surrounded by mandrakes or gillyweed. So my dear friend, let's all put on our gloves and masks and venture into this magical world of greenery and wonders. Because if there's one thing I learned from Hogwarts Greenhouse, is that sometimes the most beautiful things come from the weirdest and most unexpected places. And who knows, we might even discover a new magical plant that will make us famous. Cheers to that! Sorry, I got carried away a bit. What was I saying again? Ah, yes. After my quick brief lesson, you'll be an absolute pro in gardening, and you won't kill your magic plants like Luke and Brattleby, who didn't tended them for ages. We'll start with the basics. What is herbology? It's the study of magical plants and fungi. And let me remind you, these plants are not your ordinary vegetables. They can be pretty useful and do some pretty amazing things. Imagine having a plant that can heal you on the spot, from small cuts to severe wounds. Well, that's exactly what Dittany does. It's like having a walking pharmacy in your pocket. But wait, it gets even better. This plant can also revive you from the dead. Okay, maybe not completely dead, but it can definitely bring you back from the brink of oblivion. So, if you ever find yourself in a duel... Also, next time you'll need a partner for crossed wands, don't hesitate to call on me. And things aren't going well, just whip out your Dittany plant and voila! You'll be back on your feet in no time. Now, you're thinking, where can I get my hands on this incredible plant? Unfortunately, it's not available in your local Muggle nursery. Believe me, I've looked. The only place you can find it is in the Hogwarts Herbology greenhouse, or you can plant your own. Who needs modern medicine when you have a plant that can do it all? Let's take a look at a magical herb known as Mellowsweet. Yes, I know the name doesn't sound very exciting, but trust me, this little plant has some big surprises in store for you. For starters, did you know that Mellowsweet has the ability to cure hiccups? Yes, that's right. If you ever find yourself in a pickle with an uncontrollable bout of hiccups, just chew on some Mellowsweet leaves and watch the magic happen. But wait, there's more. Mellowsweet is also known to be a natural love potion. So if you have a crush on someone and want to give them a little nudge in your direction, slip a bit of Mellowsweet into their drink and watch the sparks fly. What? Why are you smiling like that? Do you have a crush on someone? Well, never mind. And if you're feeling a little low on energy, Mellowsweet can also give you a quick boost. Just boil some leaves into a tea, and voila, you'll be ready to tackle any challenge that comes your way. Now, I know what you're thinking. Sebastian, this all sounds too good to be true. But trust me, Mellowsweet is the real deal. So the next time someone asks you if you've heard of this mysterious herb, you can proudly say, yes, yes I have. And let me tell you, it's one herb you don't want to miss out on. No, of course I'm not making this up, and stop interrupting me. Plus you are using Mellowsweet in this weird-ass shit never-ending Merlin trials. One of the most important and yet underrated elements of potion making, Fluxweed. Now, let me tell you, Fluxweed is kind of like that nerdy kid in school who no one really notices or pays attention to. But little do you know, this little plant is a game changer when it comes to creating some of the most powerful and complex potions in the wizarding world. Picture this, a young, innocent witch or wizard attempting to concoct the perfect potion for a difficult task. They've got all the ingredients laid out on their workbench, everything from dragon's blood to mandrake root. They're feeling pretty confident until they realize they're missing one key ingredient, Fluxweed. Now let me tell you, getting your hands on Fluxweed is no easy task. You can't just stroll into your local Diagon Alley apothecary and ask for it. Fluxweed can only be found in the wild, and it's notoriously tricky to spot. It's a bit like trying to find a needle in a haystack, except the needle is a small, unassuming plant with drooping leaves. But if you're lucky enough to find some Fluxweed, the possibilities are endless. Need a potion to turn you invisible? Fluxweed. Need a potion to boost your memory? Fluxweed. Honestly, you could probably throw Fluxweed into just about any potion and it would work like a charm. That's something Gareth still didn't realize. Next! Knotgrass may look like an innocent little plant, but let me tell you, it packs a punch. It's a feisty little thing that can survive in almost any condition. You can find knotgrass growing in the nooks and crannies of Hogwarts, from the damp dungeons to the bright and sunny Quidditch field. But what makes knotgrass so special, you ask? Well, first and foremost, it has some pretty impressive medicinal properties. It can heal cuts and bruises, reduce inflammation, and even cure a common cold. So, the next time you're feeling under the weather, skip the pepper up potion and try some knotgrass tea instead. But the best part about knotgrass has to be its mischievous nature. You see, knotgrass has a tendency to wrap itself around your ankles and trip you up when you least expect it. It's like the wicked stepsister of the plant world. Just be sure to watch your step, or else you might find yourself falling in front of your crush, or worse, your potion professor. In conclusion, knotgrass may seem like a simple weed, but it's anything but. It's a powerful little plant that can heal and bewilder in equal measure. So, the next time you see knotgrass growing on the Hogwarts grounds, give it the respect it deserves. Or else, you might just end up on your backside. Gather round, for I have a tale to tell about the most peculiar plant that has ever graced the grounds of Wizarding World. I speak, of course, of the Shrivelfig. You may be wondering what exactly a Shrivelfig is, and I must confess that until recently I was in the same boat. But fear not, dear friend, for I have done extensive research on this mysterious plant, and am prepared to share my findings with you today. Firstly, Shrivelfig is not your average plant. Oh no, it is far from it. For starters, it looks like a cross between a wrinkly prune and a dehydrated grape. Not the most attractive of flora, I must say, but here's the kicker. The Shrivelfig is actually used in potions. Yes, you heard me right. It's not just a sad, shriveled up fruit that you'd find at the bottom of your grandparents' pantry. It has magical properties that make it highly sought after in the wizarding world, but don't be fooled into thinking that obtaining a Shrivelfig is an easy task. Oh no, it requires talent and skill to properly harvest one. You see, they only grow on trees that are infested with doxies, those pesky little flying creatures that like to cause mischief. So not only do you have to brave a swarm of doxies to get your hands on a Shrivelfig, but you also have to be quick about it. If you wait too long, the fruit will shrivel up even more and become useless. Oh, but you can buy them in Hogsmeade, which is easier to get. Well, in conclusion, while the Shrivelfig may not be the most visually appealing of plants, it is certainly one of the most fascinating one. For our next plant, imagine a plant that doesn't just sit there motionless and boring, but actually chomps on everything in its path like a hungry hippogriff. That's right, The Chinese chomping cabbage plant is a real-life carnivorous plant that devours insects and small creatures. It's been known to chomp down on unsuspecting wizards and witches if they get too close. Can chomp your fingers like nothing. But here's the thing, you can't just go up to this plant and pick its leaves. Oh no, you have to earn its trust first. And the only way to do that is by feeding it, wait for it, dumplings. Yes, you heard that right, dumplings. You have to bring this plant its favorite food in order to gain its favor. And let me tell you, this plant has good taste. It only accepts the most delicious dumplings, filled with savory pork and steaming hot broth. Yeah, of course. It's true. I know. Who knew Hogwarts would be the perfect place to grow such a thing? I must enlighten you about the fascinating plant called Mandrake. Now don't be tricked by its innocent appearance, for this plant has some serious powers. First off, did you know that Mandrake screams? Yes! Screams! And I'm not talking about a basic run-of-the-mill scream. I'm talking about a scream that can knock you off your feet. That's right. The scream of a mandrake is so powerful that it can kill anyone who hears it. But don't worry, my new charge, it's not all bad news. Mandrake can also be used for healing purposes. Its root has magical properties that can cure petrification and paralysis. So if you're ever frozen stiff, just hope that someone has a mandrake on hand. Now, let's talk about how to handle this plant. You see, when it comes to harvest time, you can't just yank it out of the ground. Oh no, you must put on some earmuffs, or else the scream of the mandrake will knock you out cold. But hey, the fun doesn't stop there. If you pull the mandrake out of the ground without taking proper precautions, it can curse you with bad luck for 7 years. So there you have it, the magical, screaming, healing, baby-looking mandrake plant. Last but not least, I want to tell you all about the Venomous Tentacula plant. And let me tell you, this plant is no joke. It's definitely not something you want to order as a side dish at the Great Hall. Now, I know you may think it sounds like a fancy Italian dish, but let me set the record straight. This plant is not something you want to eat, because it fucking eats you first. In fact, it's so dangerous that it's actually classified as a dark plant. Yep, you heard that right. This thing is as dark as my uncle's soul. The Venomous Tentacula plant is covered in sharp teeth and has a tendency to snap at anyone who gets too close. So, if you're ever wandering through the Forbidden Forest and come across one of these bad boys, my advice to you is simple. Run. Run fast, run far, and don't look back. Now, I know what you're thinking. Sebastian, why are you telling me about this terrifying plant? Are you trying to give me nightmares? Well, no, not exactly. Only if you're too scared so you want to cuddle with me at night. Wait, what? Well, you see, the Venomous Tentacula plant is actually quite important in the wizarding world. Its venom is used in a variety of different potions, from healing ointments to antidotes for all sorts of nasty curses. So, while you may want to stay far away from the Venomous Tentacula plant, it's worth keeping in mind that, sometimes, even the scariest things can have a silver lining. Just maybe don't get too close and try to pet it like you would a niffler. Okay, that's everything for me. Thank you for listening to my tales of terror and triumph, and remember, stay away from the Venomous Tentacula plant, unless you want to end up as its next meal. So, happy planting! And also, Sebastian didn't see this many plants here before.